Our panel, Fox News contributor and former advisor to President Bill Clinton, Doug Schoen, and Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union. Matt, can you weigh in on what the conversation is today on Capitol Hill?
Yes, Andrew, there's a lot of scared elected officials because if the new standard is that if there is a credible charge of, sexual abuse or harassment against somebody, if that can expel you from the Senate, we could potentially have the biggest turnover in the Senate we've ever seen in the history of our country, because that standard, a lot of office holders will not be able to meet it. So this is causing a lot of concern and chaos, and it's something the country is going to have to deal with in the legacy of Bill Clinton.
It's really interesting when you mentioned the standard, Doug, because Axios put out a piece today what Al Franken's ethics probe would look like. In it, they detail why it matters. They go on to say if the Franken case does go before the committee and makes it to a vote, it will reveal what each senator on that committee believes the standard is or should be for sexual misconduct on Capitol Hill at a very important time in history for this discussion.
Well, that's right, Sandra. At the same time, in the Franken case, we do have documentary visual evidence of outrageous behavior. And I can only say, from my perspective, it offends my sense of decency, propriety, and I am, as a Democrat, outraged by what I saw and what I heard initially from Senator Franken when he denied that he remembered anything. So I guess, yes, there are standards, but yes, there's evidence. And in this case, we have evidence, and it's pretty stark.
Matt, as far as what to watch, Senator Franken's demeanor, they say, is going to be so important. So far, we know that Senator Franken said he's going to cooperate gladly with this investigation. He asked for one to even take place himself in all of this. But as far as the track record of the committee, in 2016, last year, the committee reviewed 63 alleged violations, 5 of which received preliminary inquiries. None led to disciplinary sanctions, and none led to private or public letters of admonition. Where does this go? Well,
this is this whole question about if Roy Moore wins in Alabama, there's all this big talk about how the Senate wouldn't seat him or they'd expel him. And I just think that that is big talk, because at the end, Senate do not like the idea of chastising or taking legal action against their colleagues unless the case is just putrid and the politics are terrible, especially back home in their own state. So it's a question about how big a deal this becomes politically. Anytime a political entity is investigating itself, politics matters to a large extent.
And you just heard Bill reference Senator Packwood. 33 months it took to look into decades of his behavior. He ultimately resigned under the threat of expulsion. But this isn't something that's going to happen overnight, that's for sure.
That's right. And look, this is all the legacy of Bill Clinton and these credible accusers. Bill Clinton admitted under oath that he had sexual relationships with an intern. In this day and age, I think it's good that the country is saying, dating underage women, being abusive towards women on the workplace or anywhere is just simply not acceptable, and it should be bad politics.
Huge conversation is being had, needed to be had. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.